This is Haley Solomon with the North Carolina Housing Coalition. Thank you for joining us this morning for our housing call. And without further ado, I will turn it over to our Director of Housing Policy, Stephanie Watkins Cruz.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are having a great week so far. Happy February. Woo. Y'all, I did not think we were going to make it out of January. A very long month. We're going to go ahead and kick it off the top things this week. We are currently in a partial government shutdown. Also, want to lift up that last week, the ACS data that we are waiting on was released. And so, county profiles for 2026 will be released at the end of this month, and we're excited to get those to you. We are adding something different for a few of our counties, thanks to our friends at the North Carolina Rural Center. We also have a few dates that we want you to save. So I'm going to go ahead and go into those. We want you to save two sets of dates. The first date we want you to save is for Housing Day 2026. Mark your calendars. It's April 28th and 29th in Raleigh. On Tuesday, April 28th, we will be gathering for training and networking and fellowshipping. And then on Wednesday, April 29th, we will gather on Halifax Mall and meet with legislators throughout the General Assembly in Raleigh. Want to give a big shout out because this day would not be possible without our co-host, Habitat for Humanity of North Carolina, the North Carolina Coalition to End Homelessness, and our newest co-host, the North Carolina Community Land Trust Coalition. So really excited about that. The second date I want you to mark on your calendar, or set of dates that I want you to mark on your calendar. So we have April 28th and 29th for Housing Day, the second set. And we're really, really grateful that we were a little nervous there due to things that we've communicated with you all, just the absence of funding, honestly. But the need has been heard. Save the date for this year's Bringing It Home, Ending Homelessness in North Carolina conference, May 27th through May 28th at the McKimmon Center in Raleigh. So this conference, a lot of the homelessness services professionals and allies are welcome to gather and learn, network, and collaborate with industry experts from across North Carolina and beyond. And so we're really excited to be able to do this again. It is a statewide conference dedicated to ensuring that homelessness in North Carolina can be rare and brief and one time only one day. This 2-day conference will include presentations, panels, and workshops that cover a broad range of topics related to homelessness, and it's hosted by the North Carolina Housing Coalition, the North Carolina Coalition in Homelessness, and the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services ESG office. So registration will open in March for Bringing It Home. You can sign up for updates using a link that we have in the call notes for you, or you can check out the landing page for Bringing It Home 2026, and you can contact our phenomenal Stephanie Kirby with any questions, and we'll include the link to that in the call notes as well. Registration for Housing Day should open next week, so keep an eye out for that as well. Moving on to federal updates, like I mentioned, we are in a partial government shutdown. However, thankfully, the House returned back to Washington, D.C. yesterday and began considering the revised funding package that the Senate passed on Friday in order to end the partial government shutdown that began over the weekend. So the Senate passed a vote from 71 to 29. They passed a 5-package bill that included the THUD bill, Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, as well as 4 other full-year spending bills for other federal departments, and then a 2-week continuing resolution that temporarily funds programs under the Department of Homeland Security. The Senate made this vote, again, like I mentioned last week, so on January 30th. And on the THUD side, the Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, it does provide funding for HUD's really vital programs, affordable housing, homelessness, and community development. It provides $77.3 billion for HUD programs, which is a $7.2 billion increase from the previous fiscal year, and thankfully boosts funding for several key programs. We're going to include the National Income Housing Coalition's budget analysis chart on the spending bill, and as they continue updating it, we'll make sure to have that in the call notes. So even though this THUD bill already passed the House, what happened is that the House and Senate have to pass bills that are in the same form. So this week, the House is going to return from recess. They already did, and they're going to take up the spending package that was passed by the Senate. Yesterday, the Rules Committee in the House passed this package, and they're expected to vote on it today. We will keep you all posted, but hopefully by the end of today and at least this week, we will be out of this partial government shutdown. Just for the record, there are several agencies that are not affected by the partial shutdown because their appropriations bills have already been approved by both chambers and they have funding through September 30th of 2026. So these are departments, these are things like the Department of Veterans Affairs, Department of Agriculture, Food and Drug Administration, the Justice Department, Department of Commerce, and several others. However, due to the partial government shutdown right now, here is just a list of the agencies that are not funded and impacted by, but are impacted by the partial government shutdowns. This includes the Defense Department, the State Department, Department of Labor, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Education, Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service. So we will keep an eye on how this vote goes, but there's a lot of motivation to not enter another long drawn out shutdown. So we will see what happens. Moving on to state updates. At the General Assembly, there are a handful of committee meetings that are happening this week, next week, and the following week. They are going to reconvene the week of February 9th, but there are several committee meetings. So they're doing hybrid meetings. There are several of them coming back for their committee meetings, but their House and Senate convening sessions are technically February 9th. There is going to be a joint legislative commissioner or committee on energy policy meeting today at 10 a.m. There is also going to be a House Select Committee on Oversight and Reform meeting on Monday, February 9th. And also next week, the following week, the House Select Committee on Involuntary Commitment and Public Safety are meeting. And then we will be back at the General Assembly for both of these for the Involuntary Commitment and Public Safety meeting, but also the House Select Committee on Property Tax Reduction and Reform. They're meeting on the week of February 16th, I believe. On February 18th, they're meeting at 10 a.m. in the Legislative Office Building. So we're going to continue to have a presence there and to keep track of the conversations. And yes, we still do not have a budget. On the disaster recovery housing side, last week, it was announced that $2.2 billion in disaster relief funding is going to be distributed throughout the country to support ongoing recovery efforts. And $200 million of that award is going to North Carolina. This award is to go to for emergency protective measures that were performed by North Carolina Emergency Management during Hurricane Helene. So this includes temporary facilities that were provided, mobilization of base camps, and other emergency activities, and the funding is going to be dispersed through FEMA. Another reminder that even though the homeowner rehab program was closed last week, the deadline ended, the Renew North Carolina Small Rental Rehabilitation Program applications are open. This is a part of a larger sort of overarching multifamily housing program framework, and it targets landlords that have between 1 and 4 rental units per property that were damaged by Hurricane Helene. So if you are interested in this and you want to know more, we'll have links to do so and also links to the data. Even though this program launched in mid-December, it's received over 60 applications to date. So definitely starting to see that need and demand rise. Also want to lift up several different local headlines as well as reports, events, and resources. On the reports and events and resources side, last week, the U.S. Census Bureau, we're data nerds here, so we have to do a data highlight. They released the results of a survey that provides a snapshot into the intersection of energy and rental assistance. And this is from the survey of income and program participation. So just want to highlight a few things that when they looked at people that were receiving energy assistance and rental assistance, here are some of the things that they found. So 1 in 13 households across the country received energy assistance or rental assistance. And 1 in 6 households with annual income below their poverty threshold received energy assistance. And this included 20% of renters and 14% of owners. So it does not, even though there are more renters, it's something that both homeowners and renters experience. 1 in 5 households with an annual income below their poverty threshold received rental assistance, and households with someone age 65 or over were actually 24% more likely to receive rental assistance as well. And then 7 out of 10 households that received energy or rental assistance also had health insurance through Medicaid or the Children's Health Insurance Program. We're going to link the fact sheet there for you. They have also several other fact sheets on that page. So they talk about TANF and SNAP and all those other programs. But what was really kind of interesting to read and see in the visual that they provided is this very clear intersection between both, and how these are some of the same households, whether you're in the food policy space, health policy space, energy policy space. When we look at the needs and demands of each of those spaces, a lot of the households are the same households that we're trying to serve. Moving on to events, I actually want to go back. There is a really funny headline, and it's funny as someone who probably won't own a home for a while, but we're working on it. There's a headline from Axios, just an article highlighting how renting is cheaper than owning in major U.S. metros. So if you want sort of a cynical chuckle, there is that article for you in the call notes. On the event side, next Monday, February 9th, from 10 a.m. to 12, the Governor's Advisory Committee on Western North Carolina Recovery will be meeting again, and there is a public registration link, so you'll be able to listen in. There's also going to be a free webinar that talks about leveraging HR1. So this is the big, beautiful bill that passed last summer, leveraging HR1's affordable housing provisions for housing and health initiatives. And this is actually a month from now. So this will be March 4th from 4 to 5 p.m. And there are several national conferences coming up too. Want to lift up the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, their Housing Policy Forum, and Capital Day is happening March 10th through the 13th. Yours truly is going to be one of the co-captains for North Carolina. And so we're really excited to be back in DC and to be present in that space with housers from across the country. And with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. Remember, save those dates on your calendar. Make sure that you come to Housing Day. Make sure that you come and support bringing it home. We really hope to see you there. Our convenings are often times the favorite times of year where we get to see everyone throughout the ecosystem. So have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time.